let's go over the Common Language Runtime. Now, the Common Language Runtime is composed of a couple of things here. Now, it is the Common Language Runtime, but also within that Common Language Runtime is the Common Type System and the Common Language Specification. So, don't wrap your head around the little acronyms too much. CLR is just the Common Language Runtime. You might confuse CTS and CLS. We'll just go over it really quickly, and then you'll let it sink in. But it's really just a way that we're going to be able to manage our programs, and we're going to be able to work within a specification for language and types and things like that. And then also another way that other languages that are .NET enabled languages that work within the .NET framework, we're going to allow, or we're going to describe these languages as languages that are either compliant to the Common Language Specification or they're non-compliant, meaning that if they are compliant, then other languages can make use of the features that are within that compliance. So it's not really that complicated, but it does get a little bit wordy in this particular area. But just know that these three elements here make up the Common Language Runtime. This is what enables the .NET framework to actually be considered a runtime environment, because it's actually running our programs. It's housing our programs and it's running our programs. What it does is it has the job of locating our assemblies, our programs, and it has the job of loading them when they're needed and then managing these .NET types for us. So it has a lot to do. It also manages memory. It ensures that our types are safe, type safety, and it helps with language integration. So type safety is just another way that we're saying that our types, the different objects that we work with, the different data types and things like that, that they're safely being used within memory and things like that. We'll get into that in more detail, but that's just a high level of it. So the CTS, Common Type System. This is how we describe all the possible data types and programming constructs that are supported within this CLR. This is going to handle quite a lot of metadata. The .NET framework is heavily involved with metadata, and that's just ways that we can describe our programs, describe our types, describe everything within the .NET universe, that we're not just programming it, but it is logically being understood through metadata. Now we have the Common Language Specification. So again, this is just the third part of it all. This is going to describe the language-specific programming constructs, the elements of the language that all the languages can work with or can agree on, and this is going to be compliant. You might see CLS compliant. This means that if it works within CLS compliance, then these particular features of a language are going to be able to be understood and interact with other languages, because you don't necessarily need to use the same language when you're programming. You can bring different languages together, different modules of code together, and everything can interact very, very nicely. So that makes everything very, very easy to understand. So not to gloss it over and make it sound oversimplified, the Common Language Runtime is very, very important. We're going to talk about it throughout the training. And once again, this is just going to have that primary role of locating, loading, and managing our .NET types. And this is going to help us out quite a bit. It's really the foundation of what's going on with the .NET framework. And you can just look at it as that for the time being.